We are back in 1987 as we continue our look at the SilverHawks toy line by Kenner. Last time, way back in episode 7, we took a look at the leader of the SilverHawks, Quicksilver, and his companion, Tallyhawk. That same episode, we also looked at a bonus toy, a member of Monstar's intergalactic mob, the evil Buzzsaw, and his companion, Shredator. This time, we're checking out another member of the SilverHawks team, and my personal favorite of the whole toy line, the Copper Kid, and his companion, Mayday, here on Creed's Collection. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Creed's Collection. Today we're taking a look at the Copper Kid and his companion, Mayday, from the 1987 SilverHawks toy line by Kenner. Copper Kid is the youngest of the SilverHawks, and while his age is never actually established, I always assumed he was about 13 years old. He is a mathematical genius and enjoys tinkering with his own inventions like rocket skates. He tends to get on the nerves of the SilverHawks commander Stargazer, but has a solid friendship with the rest of the crew, especially the pilot, Bluegrass. He goes by the name Copper Kid or Kid due to the fact that his real name is extremely difficult to pronounce in English. This is because Copper Kid is the only alien member of the SilverHawks, originating from the planet of mimes. He speaks only in tones and whistles, which I imagine can get him in trouble sometimes. Did you seriously just catcall me? Jerk. And now that we know a bit more about Copper Kid, let's take a closer look. The Copper Kid, in my opinion, is a stunning looking action figure. Just amazing. His copper colored finish, silver wings, and bluish gray skin are an amazing color combination. You can see his SilverHawk symbol right there. It's held up very well. And overall, I just love this guy. I think his head sculpt is fantastic. I love his pointed ears, and most of his paint and finish have held up great, especially here on his hand where it tends to really chip. Sadly, SilverHawks figures' paint and finish are very easy to damage. Right here on the hips, you can see the discs that the Copper Kid uses in battle, and it's nice that they included that detail in the sculpt. As we come down to the legs, you can see they also look really cool, and I never noticed it before, but it actually looks like he's wearing boots. And while we're down here, I want to show you the talons that are on the back of all the SilverHawks figures. In the cartoon, they would use these to fly in and slice things up, and I always thought they were really, really awesome. On the back side of the figure, you can see a little bit of damage on the wings and on the back of the right leg, which is pretty typical with all SilverHawks because that's usually where you're holding them when you're playing with them, and sadly over time that chrome tends to rub off. Now we're going to take a look at the wings and wing mechanism on SilverHawks. As you can see, the wings clip onto the wrists right here, and then on the back there's a peg that plugs in, much like a G.I. Joe backpack. Now inside their body they have a spring-loaded mechanism for their arms. So you push their arms down into place, squeeze their legs together, and there you go. Their wings pop out just like the show. Sadly, this feature greatly affects the articulation, which we're going to look at right now. So their legs can go all the way up, as you can see, in a 90 degree, but they don't go back at all. The arms can go down and they can go up, and that is it. The head can turn left and right, but I'm not going to do it because I don't want to mess up the paint. And that's it. That covers all 5 points of articulation for the Copper Kid. Copper Kid has one included accessory. It's his companion bird, Mayday, or weapon bird as it says on the card. The claws here are designed to hook on to the arm of the figure, but I never do that because it's way too easy to chip off the paint, as I've already said. And not just on this side, you can chip it off the chrome finish as well. Mayday is hard plastic and all one color, as you can see, with no paint apps whatsoever. But there is still a high level of detail thanks to the sculpt, especially in the wings, which I think look really good. Now Mayday has a built-in gimmick like all the other SilverHawks companion birds, but it's kind of weak. You blow in his tail here and sound comes out the top. That's right, he's a whistle. And he sounds like this. I guess they named him Mayday because he can call for help. The copyright information is on the inside of the legs of the Copper Kid, 1986 Telepix, made in Taiwan. And now for our He-Man size comparison. The Copper Kid is quite a bit smaller than He-Man, but I have a feeling that the SilverHawks would fit in well in the Masters of the Universe world. I could see the Copper Kid hanging out with Stratos, soaring across the skies of Eternia. And while we're at it, here's a Quicksilver size comparison so you can see that they actually scaled Copper Kid correctly. He is much shorter than the other SilverHawks, and the figure reflects that. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my toy retrospective for the Copper Kid and Mayday from the 1987 toy line SilverHawks by Kenner. The Copper Kid is by far my favorite of the SilverHawks, like I said in the opening. And as a kid, I could never find this figure in the store. I didn't get him till much later in life. But I am so glad to have him in my collection. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please leave a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts, please leave a comment. I love reading and responding to them. And while you're at it, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it, and it would help my channel grow. I do a retrospective on a toy from my vintage collection every Wednesday, so hope to see you next week and every week after, here on KREED'S Collection.